Now, thousands of police are expected to be deployed in Luton this weekend at considerable public expense as the so-called English Defence League stage what they're calling a homecoming demonstration in the town. The group's about 2 years old and the police aren't quite sure how to classify it. They're vehemently anti-Islam, yet also have non-white and gay members. So in a moment, I'll talk to their self-styled leader, Stephen Lennon, the man who goes by the pseudonym Tommy Robertson. Katrine Nye, a reporter for Newsnight and the BBC Asian Network, has spent the last 6 months getting to know members of the EDL.
In the 2 years that have passed since its inception, the English Defence League has held demonstrations up and down the UK.
Muslim bullet!
They've spawned opposition groups and counter-demos, the combination shutting down city centres. Their own leader never thought they'd last this long, but Saturday's likely to be the biggest EDL demo yet.
My barrister said they haven't arrested you on either of them, so they can't, like on a technicality. She said you don't need to attend court, so don't go to court.
A sunbed shop in Luton. This is Stephen Lennon's business. I call him Tommy Robinson because that's what the rest of the EDL do, after a famous Luton football hooligan. He's had a call from his brief to tell him a charge of assaulting a policeman has been dropped.
Out of court, brilliant.
You better notify all this mob.
Right, I've got off. Thrown out of court.
Tommy updates the EDL's 69,000 followers on Facebook from his shop.
Good news, my mum will be happy.
28-year-old Tommy is Luton born and bred, the son of Irish immigrants. These days, though, for a walk into the town centre, he wears protection.
And do you think a bulletproof vest is needed for Luton town centre?
It is needed for Luton town centre. It is needed. I've had my house attacked, I've had my business premises attacked, I've had Muslims jumping out of cars with knives on me. It's no joke. I'm not up against Mickey Mouse, we're up against militant Islam. Do you know what I mean? This is, we're living it.
Not for the first time, Luton is under the spotlight for extremism. Unfortunate history links the town to the fertiliser bomb plot and 7/7 bombings, among others.
We are the people living in this town. We are the people living side by side. When we queue up in that bank there, we're queuing up next to radical, lunatic Muslims.
It was here in March 2009 that a small group of Muslims taunted a parade by the Royal Anglian Regiment. The EDL formed in reaction, claiming to be opposing radical Islam.
It's escalated across the country, it's gained momentum, it's now a phenomenon that swept the country, and we're bringing it back, and we're showing how far we've come in 2 years. In between these 2 years, I hate to say I told you so, another Luton radicalised Muslim blowing himself up in Stockholm. This is the heart of militant Islam, this town. The root cause of the problem is the teachings of Islam.
That's how the message has changed, though, hasn't it? Since you started, it used to be we're against radical Islam.
Yeah,
now
because I didn't know anything.
Happy with Islam.
No, because I didn't know anything about the Quran when we first started. I didn't know what left wing or right wing was. I'd never turned a computer on. Do you know what I mean? I just knew that things were seriously wrong. When you take a 7th century book in its barbaric form, which they do, we have a problem because this isn't the 7th century. It's year 2011, Britain.
I had a briefing with NetCoo about the EDL, the specialist police unit dedicated to dealing with groups like these. The constant demos are putting increasing pressure on police forces. An intelligence officer told me they never thought the EDL would still be in existence this long after formation.
But exist they do, and they're not stopping. Tommy spends much of his time travelling up and down the country to meetings. From its origins in Luton, the group has garnered followers across the UK. It's split into divisions, the term being one of the many military references that are weaved through the EDL. Tonight, it's a brand new division, Chelmsley Wood, a suburb of Birmingham. When Newsnight first featured the EDL, a group meeting was an empty warehouse, the suspect masks, and a symbolic gesture to counter Nazi accusations.
Relentlessly pursuing you in our quest to see all Sharia banished from our great democratic country. Long live the free.
Now, we're in a pub. There's a buffet and a disco to follow. There are women and children here, non-white members, and they gather to hear their leader speak, undeterred by the fact he's somewhat slurring his words.
We've been walking on eggshells through fear of being called a racist. You want to call me a racist? Tattoo it there. You want to call me a racist for protecting my youth, my Hindu youth, my Sikh youth, my Jewish youth, our youth, against Muslim paedophilic gangs that are raping them from one end of the country to the other. It's time to...
Despite the fact we've been allowed to film, not everyone is comfortable with the camera.
A lot of people in happy with the camera being here.
No, most people heard about the English Defence League through documentaries, through the media, through... The only way we get our voice out there is through that. They say multiculturalism has failed. It hasn't where I come from. We have integrated. There is no problem with West Indian youth. There is no problem with Sikh youth. The problem is with Islamic integration. Why is it being left to us, uneducated, working class lads of fucking council estates? Why is it being left to us to educate people? That's why it is.
This is a theme that Tommy returns to over and again, the sense that no one is representing the white working class. He argues that Muslim communities do have leaders that represent their views.
Done. Did your politician represent you? Do I represent you? That's how it is. I represent them.
And I'm a new member.
Why do you join?
I've joined now because basically I've heard the word and I believe what is happening over the English Defence League. When I first heard about it, I believed, like everybody else, skinheads, nutcases, football hooligans wanted to cause trouble. Right? Now, I've joined it because I know for a fact it's not like that.
Why are you in the EDL now?
It's for the sake of my children. I didn't want them growing up in an Islamic state. I want my children to stay British. We've noticed the Muslim population growing and turning against the white children, especially at the schools. They don't integrate as much.
EDL leaders ask members to sign a code of conduct encouraging good behaviour. They tell me they're trying to remove swearing from speeches, that the word Paki is not acceptable at marches, even though it slips into Tommy's conversation.
Osama bin Laden, I am coming for you.
The spread of the EDL across the UK is undeniable, but the group have also set themselves international ambitions. They protested in New York, and in October I travelled to Amsterdam with the group. They'd planned a demo in support of Dutch anti-Islam MP Geert Wilders.
As you can see today, the English Defence League are here. We're not hooligans, we're normal people. We've come here today to have our voices heard.
The demo was moved out of the city at the last minute, so the EDL ended up on an industrial estate. There were more press and police than supporters. Local Ajax football fans took over the metro station, telling me they wanted the racists out of their city. The EDL's high-profile Sikh member Amit Singh was on hand to oppose those claims.
I mean, people call us racist. I mean, you have the lefties call us racist, Muslims call us racist. It's a useless excuse they keep using to try and get their own way. The English Defence League's never been about race. A Muslim could be a white man, a brown man, or a black man. This is about militant Islam, which is an ideology. The English Defence League's motto is all colours, creeds, religions unite. Brown, black, white unite to fight militant Islam. That's precisely what it is.
Amsterdam was basically a shambles, so I met up with 29-year-old Amit again back home in Nottingham.
I received these packages today.
He's admired somewhat as one of the brains of the EDL. He's just got a delivery of quotes from the Quran from his researcher in Israel.
It's going to be everything that's warmongering about Islam and how jihad is the main goal for any Muslim.
You and your parents or your grandparents must have experienced racism. Come to this country, you've experienced it, and so you must know what it feels like for Muslims at the moment to feel like they're under threat from organisations like yours.
Our issue isn't with the Muslims. At the end of the day, the Muslims were the first victims.
But you do make people feel like they're under threat.
At the end of the day, Muslims need to stand up and be outspoken about their disgusting doctrine. I understand most of them aren't educated about their doctrine, but they need to educate themselves about it because they're bowing down to this doctrine on a daily basis.
They probably feel like you're attacking their religion every single day.
We are attacking their religion. It's Islam. It's disgusting.
Amit also took me to meet the leaders of his local EDL division in a Nottingham pub.
But it's like with the division itself, we've just had a bit of a revamp, a bit of a change around on what we're going to do. And one of the first things that's going to come up in the next few weeks is all of the members are going to get together for a day and we're going to educate them on the issues of Islam and everything else. It'll be, what would we call it?
Keep them cleared up, you know.
You know. We don't just want people thinking it's a day out to get pissed up and everything else. You know, we want people to know what they're going down there for.
Is it right to be making people worried about Islam?
Yeah, I think it is.
Islam in general?
To an extent, yeah.
Yeah.
Even though there's thousands and thousands of peaceful Muslims in this country?
I think it... I don't know.
Muslims aren't the problem.
Yeah, it's not Muslims that are the problem. It's like, look at Germany. Look at Germany. Like, you have an issue with Nazis, you don't have an issue with Germans. Do you know what I mean? It's the ideology. It's some of the things and the facts, the whole cold hard facts that are written in the Quran that I am against. I'm against parts of Islam. I'm not against any Muslim.
The question for senior figures in the EDL is how they separate their rhetoric from out-and-out Muslim bashing at demos.
For this so-called homecoming demonstration, Bedfordshire Police will be forced to mount their largest ever policing operation. They say they'll have 1,500 officers on the ground, that they're expecting up to 12,000 protesters. All this to the dismay of many locals, especially here in Bury Park, the predominantly Muslim area of Luton.
Tommy hands out leaflets telling the public the EDL's not here to cause trouble.
You from the EDL?
Yeah.
Get out of my face.
Yeah, well done.
They've been liaising with police for months. With thousands of supporters, they hope they've educated on the dangers of Islam. Luton will be the biggest test yet of just what the EDL has become.